One action director and film director combo. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, we successful. Even I'm with Rajmouli sir also. I'm successful with Rajmouli sir. We work from the first film from Rajmouli sir from the student number one, and I've only some two films I couldn't do. So every day I work with Sangha sir, successful with Mani Ratham sir, and every directors. It's a matter how you do you gel. You need to trust your captain, and you make sure because I'm just one supervisor in one particular point in the movie. I'm not like full. So, but I need to follow. I need to follow, and I make sure that I don't cross the line. That gives me success.
Sir, I have two questions.
Oh, man,
It's
sorry,
me,
the line.
Bala
Okay,
again.
yeah.
Yeah. So first question is, see, I've been working in Hollywood. I live there and I come here. I came here to be the dean here. But the style difference between choreography there and here, I notice because I know friends like Bob Brown and all of them who worked, Lee Whittaker and all of them. But there, action films have humanly possible adventure. Like, and it's convincing that actually humans can do that much. It won't go, they don't push it a little beyond unbelievable, to the unbelievable extent, the moves and the feats they do. And they go with the background of the character, as you said. The person is a police officer, he has a certain kind of body language and fight abilities and all that. Person is a common man, he fights only, in a certain way. And the person is like Bruce Lee, like you, maybe they can do a lot of martial art. But whereas most of the movies that I notice in India, especially I've seen a lot of your choreography also, they push the envelope to the extent that, just like we have seen some clips, with one punch you see 100 people flying in the air and wait in the air for a few seconds and they fall back very stylistically. So that kind of stuff, which is exaggerated, like Matrix style, we call it, is that directors ask you for that kind of stuff or you come up with that kind of stuff? Because that's a recent trend in Indian films, action films, especially big time films. I see a lot of exaggeration there. And some audience is okay with it, like masses, the fans, they whistle for it. But some audience who are not fans of those stars, they look at it and see, come on, how is that possible kind of thing. So how did that happen in this exaggeration thing? Is it because of the directors or because of choreography?
See, for me, if you ask, I've done a long time when I became a stunt choreographer and I did that kind of a stunts. That stunts, if you see once again, it is a technology. It's called time freeze. When you hit, there are 10 guys goes up in the air. And then after that, the camera move and those guys freeze. It's like you're taking a snap. When you splash the water and you click one snap, the water will be spilled in the air. But after that, the water will fall down. It's a time freeze. It's a technology. It is not that the guys falls and they freeze, they smooth, and then after that they're falling down. So that is what the technology is. But the second thing is what makes an audience for you to impress, because you make films for audience. You've been living your life with the audience income that they pay. So for satisfactions for the audience, what they like. But little by little things change, because if you do some good films, some nice things which is audience likes one film, then all the other movies will be aware that they make sure that okay, this next film will do something like that because audience likes that. Same thing, if you ask a Hollywood films, it's more realistic because they are more broad-minded. They're more broad-minded and they're more these things, a kind of more reality. It is Hollywood. But if you ask our Indian, we live in a different style. Nothing. It is like in abroad, in foreign Western, they worship Jesus. And Jesus is very realistic. Whatever they say, it's what they believe in. And they make more realistic. But if you ask about our Indian culture, we worship with Lord Shiva, with Lakshmi, and with Mariamman. They have lots of hands, lots of, all this Murugan and, Ganapati, they have with trunk and all. It is the local like. It is what the four grandfathers has told them. And this is what they like. So Christian is Western, they live that life. So if you want to come to India, it's a must for you to eat curry, fish curry and masala and all this thing. You can't eat burger much. So same thing, people here, they love rasam, they love fish curry. So whatever the audience likes, that we have to give them. But in Hollywood, you can't eat fish curry that much, only very rare places. So depends on the country, depends on the local like, that what people like. So we have to do, depends on that, and we have to make things different. So you can't change this, because me by saying this, I can't save the world. I can't change the world. I have to be, because I've been bound to live here. I've been bound to do for the audience. I'm getting paid from the audience. So what is the audience likes, I have to do that. But sometimes, as you said, it's true. People say that I was the one who changed the Indian stunts into an international standard. Yes, it was somewhat true. But sometimes I feel embarrassed to myself that my own colleagues who works together. Like examples, there's a guy who hit, bang, you get like this. That guy will fall and he'll bounce on 7-8 feet, sufficient for him to jump and kick. But if you ask me, a guy who fall from the sky, no matter how they are, once if they get into the earth gravity, the circle, and they will travel. But once if they travel, there's a speed of 110 kilometers maximum. And when they fall on the ground, that height, they just be flat on the ground. That is gravity, that's force. But how much can I change? Because sometimes some people likes that, and some people claps. But movie is not made for one particularly or one part of the audience. It has to be made for all part of audience. So it's B and C likes that. It's yes, you run more ticket. But if you try to take only like Hollywood and you're not prepared like Hollywood, you can't, your film don't run and you need to sit at home. So to earn money, you need to do that.
Let's not walk away with the notion that everything in Hollywood is realistic.
It's not.
Very
It's not.
exaggerated.
Yeah.
If you see Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious, there is nothing like there is no thing like gravity around. So no, cars are flying, and so stylization has to happen.
It's there everywhere.
It should be spectacular.
Yeah.
And by definition, there is some exaggeration is at the heart of the medium called cinema. So
Right.
Yeah,
of course.
that's we need to,
we need to
be.
give, space for it.
yeah.
All depends on the situation,
That is,
script,
yeah.
and the star. Everything matters a lot.
If you're saying a Hollywood films that they've done so great, right? Yes, fine. I can also show you there are Hollywood films are rubbish.
Of course.
Reasons are is they will put their hand into the stomach, they'll take out all the thing out, and they'll throw, and the eyes, they'll take the eyes, the whole eyes out. In real life, can you do that? You can't do that.
The script
But they
and
do
the
that.
director are very crucial in this.
No, because in English it's all filtered and it came to India. You filter the best and then it comes to India. There, if you see in the net, you can see there are lots of rubbish films are there. There are lots of rubbish films, but you can't stop them from that. That's people love, even China films and all this. But in India, if you say in India, okay, you're talking about local India. If you see the Hollywood people saying Bahubali is something good, an Indian film came out very well. And if you ask, there are lots of good films, showing overseas. People appreciate, and because it's all filtered and went. So sometimes we can't save the world.
Yeah, of course, we make a lot of good Indian cinema, and especially Bahubali, as you said, ran really well in Los Angeles, and I watched with all American audience. It's of international quality. Choreography is extraordinary because the characters are also mythical characters. All that is great. And I'm not coming with a notion that Indian cinema is not good. That's what when we teach here, we tell them to recognize the strength of Indian cinema. So my question was only about the craft and the kind of choice. That's all.
Sometimes, because sometimes I can't, me alone can't, the industrial is something big and one person cannot do. But what you said, I accept. I accept sometimes it looks, but sometimes with technologies it can, and technology we copy from them.
But it is all case to case, I believe. Case to case. You cannot generalize it. For instance, Mr. Mohanlal joined my film after Puli Murugan.
Right.
So he came and joined, and the first thing he asked me about how about action choreography. He is the one who is really get freaked out on action choreography, and when you shoot stunt with him, he always, shows the enthusiasm of a newcomer.
He knows Kalari Payat or something like that, right?
He is very well trained, and he once told me, had he not become an actor, he would have ended up as a stunt choreographer. So he asked me, how you are going to stunt choreograph. So I told him, there is no ropes for you in this film.
Okay.
Because you are an ADGP who is in your early 50s.
Right.
So whatever action I am going to execute, it will be very realistic. So it is case to case.
Case to
Willy
case.
Murugan, you have to be always flying on a rope because your opponent is a tiger.
Yes.
So here, it's a man-to-man fight. So it all depends on script and direction.
Very well answered, sir. The questions I am asking is to also facilitate if anybody wants to know. And I have high respect for Indian cinema. I miss India. So in the other sessions, I was trying to speak Telugu also. So one more question about union situation here. So we have, suppose you make a film in India, we cannot hire a non-union stunt person, first timer at all, right? We are supposed to hire a person with a card. Is that true?
Yeah, it's true because the thing is, it'll try to go to a deeply level. But for me to answer in a very basic way is, if you come and work with Indian film or in Indian soil, then there are rules and regulations are there, because you come to someone's house and suddenly you can't occupy their bedrooms or dining hall or anything. You just do what you want. You need to get the permissions. You need to make sure that they are cooperating with you, and they will surely cooperate with you. So for that, there is a 24 craft, and our Indian union is the strongest union in the world because they are all cooperated. So whatever, whether you're in any states in India, there are unions because our population is too high, and people, most of them be in the industrial, and the more workers are in the industrial. So to get away from this, I would like to say shortly that it's a must for you to hire someone who's under the union, under IFECT. It's no matter who they are, but depends on the categories and what time. So you need to hire someone who is in the union members in any craft that you want it to. You can't straight away comes and shoots and go. So this is how I know.
Yeah, it's good to have unions only because also they protect the interests of the craftsmen and professionals. Can you give us a glimpse of how to get into a union if there are some people who want to get into a union being an outside martial artist or something?
Okay, if you're being an outside martial artist, you get into the union. First of all, you need to be eligible. If you want to become a stuntman, you need to be eligible. You should show your skills and talents. And then you need to find out from the union that, you need to take the advice. You have to tell what is your process, that I want to be a stuntman. But first of all, you need to be an Indian. Your residency should be local in any states that you want it to be. Your residency should be there, and you need to have eligible on your on your skills if you want to be a stuntman. Simple. It's nothing different than getting a bike license. You want to get a bike license, you need to have your address proof, you need to be an Indian, and you need to be eligible to drive a bike or a car. Same thing, it's a union. So nothing difference in this. It's all same process.
Thank you,
The
sir.
most unorganized sector in, labor sector in India is film industry. Lots and lots of people, as Peter has rightly pointed out. Here there are 24 crafts, and Tamil cinema also has 26 crafts. Kerala has 19, Karnataka has 18, Bombay has 24 again, Bengal and all these things, and each represents a regional federation, all these crafts. And together they form the All India thing called IFEC. For your information, I've been leading IFEC for past 6 years. So
It's real people are sitting here.
if you want any more clarity on membership.
Offline. Excellent. Definitely offline. Because I have a number of friends who are into martial art. They keep asking me, because I'm in the industry, how do we get in there? Do we have to be stuntmen in 10 movies before we get the card and all that?
It is not that you need to be a stuntman, but you have to have experience. So it's a must for you to be fit and eligible. Then after that, you join in films. Then you can work. So it's a must for you.
Sir, in a recent shoot, sir, in other films, I don't know the industry name, sir, but in a shooting, sir, like two actors, they just jumped from the helicopter and in the canal and they lost their lives, sir. Like it is a big I don't know like how to explain, but there is a lot of impact on other industries and stunt people and so many things, right, sir? Like, so how can you like prevent these kind of incidents? And even the police put case on the director, producer, and all the other departments. So how to prevent such cases, sir? Like
How to prevent the such cases? Because it's a very simple thing which I can understand. See, one person make mistake. It doesn't mean that everybody get the blame.
yes, sir, yes, sir.
A very simple thing is maybe that the stunt choreographer was being careless by trusting the actor. The actor was so much of enthusiasm that they want to prove themselves, and the carelessness of the choreographer that didn't check properly and didn't give them safety precautions, and they are not prepared for that. That means homework. So because of that, unfortunately, they've lost their life. So because I'm also a stunt choreographer, and the truth is I was not there to know the exact truth. But as the problem has been happened,
Sir, actually, it happened this way, sir. Like the director, I mean, stunt choreography asked the actors to jump from the chopper into the canal, and they said that the speedboats will be coming to you, and they will pick up. But unfortunately, after the shot started, sir, the two actors jumped into the canal, but the speedboats didn't start. So at the right time, they couldn't go to the actors, and they couldn't pick up, and they lost their life, sir.
was you there at that moment?
No, sir, I'm not there. But it's a news from the media.
No, it's all
and-
hearsay.
Yeah.
You cannot.
See, sometimes the fact that we hear what news says,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
but sometimes I will not be able to tell you the exact, but I might tell you the scenario how it happens. That is, there is two stuntmen
Yes, sir.
who jumped into that lake
Yes, sir.
from the chopper, which is a lower height.
Yes, sir.
First of all, as I said, there is a mistake on the stunt choreographer that should know what this guy, can he swim?
Yes.
After he jump, can he swim?
Yes, sir.
If he doesn't know swimming, then first of all, the stunt choreographer should not allow this man to get on the chopper. Second thing, if the stunt choreographer needs, and it's a must for for that actor to jump in the water, and if he's brilliant, then you just need a chopper. You ask him to jump down in the bed, and you compose that body that is jumping down in the water.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. True, sir.
The two things you can make it. But as I said, there is a mistakes, and I don't want to point out mistakes, because when you feel bad, it's all human.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
I also do feel bad. But sometimes you can't help it. And it is a mistakes. Why do we say mistakes? Because mistakes, it happens with your carelessness, with things you're not prepared, and that speedboat doesn't on. If you're asking that speedboat doesn't on, how much time will it takes to on the speedboat?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And
true,
if the two artists know swimming, then how much time can he just lie down on the water?
Yes, sir. True, sir. True.
There is some problem which is, yes, we can't predict it. But the fact is, I can tell the blame truthfully, that the blame is from the stunt choreographer who designed that shot. So, or if you can't do it, just put the boat aside. You just put a boat, if it is a water, just put a boat aside next to the chopper and make sure let them jump, and the boat should always start in advance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And to arrest that boat, it's not a big job. You just cut, if it's like a Photoshop. There's a boat over here, you cut a piece of water just based on that, how many seconds duration you need. So they didn't think about this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's why the mistakes happen. But I regret that. I regret that mistakes, that it happens to our industrial people.
But your question also, brings out the hazardous nature of
Yeah.
the whole scenario,
yes.
and security measures. We are
Very-
we are very, very.
For me, why do I get hurt all the time? Because I experiment stunts. And first of all, I do first. I always take care of my artists, of my stuntmen.
Great, sir.
So generally the stuntman will do the composing and the action director will sit by the monitors, but for me, I don't do that. I do my own composing, because The reason is not because that I'm good at martial arts or I'm good at what I am. Even if I'm tired also, I have to do that because that character is in me. That character of the film is in me. So when I compose myself, I will make sure that it comes from the character. So my stuntmen, they just sleep at home, they come and they just shoot and go. So there's a different, that's the reasons why I do many stunts, something new, and I get hurt myself due to other people careless like what you said. I had an accident at the same place in Flim City. I broke 19 bones. People thought that I'm dead. But the truth is, it wasn't my fault. It was a truck driver fault where he's not supposed to go. But I depend on that. But by God's grace, somehow I'm sitting here and I'm alive.
One day you'll get Oscar, sir. Even Jackie Chan broke his 52 bones, sir.
Yeah, I broke 49 bones.
Oh, then you need an
We are
Oscar,
competitive.
sir. Thank you so much for your honest answers.
Thank you.
So much.
Safety gear in India for stunts. I have a question about that. How sophisticated it is for high falls or mats and all that you use, right? You make sure that your stuntmen and actors are safe when they fall, when they take a flip, or whatever they do. Is it to your satisfaction the kind of safety gear which is available in India now for stunts?
For me, safety gear, I do provide all the safety gear because I'm very much aware, and me because I'm well known, and there are success in my side. So the producer will provide me all the safety gears that I need, and I also will keep it myself that I make sure that I get the safety gears. But if you ask in India, we are not yet up to that mark. We are now processing is going on. There are companies who provide, and there are big action sequence and all these things. The safety gears is being hired from Bombay or from abroad. It's there. There are producers who value life and make sure that everything is okay. There are some companies are not that much, but safety gear. It's not only safety gears. It's in many aspects. Generally, shooting you need to have an ambulance next or Medicaid should be there. Where else I don't see much in other film because I don't work, so I don't know. But for my films, even if there is no ambulance, it is not necessary for the ambulance to be there. But at least Medicaid should be there. A nurse, someone should be in the spot. If anything goes wrong, we put on the trap. But if you're fighting basically on this, so I don't need any ambulance. But if there is some big fight with fire and all those things, my calculation is not only for the stunt that I need to choreograph. I will also judge if I have a blast, how much will that blast explode? How much will the flyer goes? I will see according to the timing, the wind and the artist, and I make sure that if anything goes wrong, what will be the safety precautions for this? Like last time I've been to UK in Birmingham, and the way that, because in India, I don't see people write a risk assessment. But in abroad, it's a must for you to write a risk assessment. So I wrote a risk assessment with my experience. An assistant directors or a company or a manager write a risk assessment, it's different. But a risk assessment only will come from the stunt choreographer. And when I wrote that action sequence for the risk assessment, they was appreciated me so much. They said that we didn't expect there are so talented person in India. I wrote it from the rope, the Dynex rope I'm using, what was the strength, how much is the strength of the rope, and how length it is, and what kind of a knot I'm doing. But if my artist that fall down this much, what will be the safety precaution for the artist? Plan A. And if it is bruise, if the accident happen, will it be a bruise? Will it be a bone broken? Or will it be death? So I just write exactly what I felt out of my experience. And they really liked it, so they wanted me to be to have a workshop and to teach all the other people in Birmingham. But my intent is not that. My intent is I'm an Indian, so I'll be here and I will work that.
So one question about choreography, and we can imagine that if you have 3-4 actors fighting, and you can easily choreograph with your experience, but logistically, in battle sequences like Bahubali, it's a grand scale, hundreds of fighters fighting in the background. I know some of it is something is CG and they add actors in, But even those CG actors also, you have to choreograph them, right? So if you have like hundreds of actors on screen, say even more than 20, 30 fighting, do you personally choreograph each and every interaction like with,
Yeah, it
actors?
is me.
I see.
Every person, it is been choreographed by me. It is, how did I do is, first of all, I need a huge number of people for the war. And what do I do is, I started gathering people. So everyone, the company provide me all the people, like even junior artists, even gym boys, bouncers, stuntmen, everything. So how do I choreograph? So what I do is, I gather hundreds of people every day. I give them a particularly steps, and I ask them to compose. And I myself personally judge one by one what this guy is capable is. Then keep him aside. Then I give another higher level. That is 5 6 steps. And how are they going to do? So that I give them another level. Like that can there are 8 levels. With the front of the hero will be in first. Then the second is the people who surrounded him, who's eligible and who's good enough. That will be a long step. Like if I run my camera for 10 seconds, and that, excuse me, the 10 seconds has they have to sustain and make sure that real. Like that can there's another level. The third, fourth, fifth, sixth, like that can 8 levels was that, and I did that is also a homework. So I trained people. I started making train, but I was quite, in the spot. I'll be like a wild animal, and sometimes I get angry. I shout because what happened is I don't see people started getting slowed down. That energy is getting slowed down. So I used to shout at them, and they started fighting, which is sometimes in Chinese films, and in many other Indian films like Jodha Akbar. They showed me, the director said that, Peter, this action. I said, sir, please, sir, this is not what I'm looking for. Because I've seen people are fighting with swords. This, that, how they move, they sabrana. I was telling, I teach the boys who's acting in Bahubali. I said, you guys are enemy of each other, or the swords is enemy with each other. And you keep on hitting the swords. He's there in front of you here. Stab him, kill him. You're just, and the sword keep on hitting. And what about you guys therefore? So I used to teach them in a right, and I teach them exactly what I have to say. So if you see that, it is a lot of difference. And to handle that, it's a big, like, not all artists are one like-minded, but to combine, to club them all, you need, like, a lot of skills and talents. So maybe I've been recognized by seeing years after years working hard, sincere, but I don't mind. And it was a very plus point for me actually, and I enjoyed that every day sitting in the sun. It's more tired than working in the movie. So
Yeah, Bahubali, the end sequences, especially the war, is very complex and it's so hard to choreograph. We could imagine, and you have done a phenomenal job with that. It keeps us so engaged,
yeah,
especially Bahubali one. I think that's what you have done mainly.
yes,
That's why I asked that question. It's so hard.
yeah. Thank you. I know how hard it is, but no matter how hard you work in a month, and when you hold on to the award, all the pain goes off. So that's what I feel.
Any other question? Yeah.
Sir, sir, professionally, like when I see your action sequences, I mean, they are so forceful, so violent. Like, it's like a war, sir. When it comes to your personal life, sir, you are so elegant, so comfortable, so calm, so peaceful, sir. So, how do you balance this both, profession and personal life? Like, you are so furious on the screen and so calm and composed outside. Like, how do you do this, sir? Like, only you can do this, but how?
It's very simple. Not me, anybody. Like, example, if you talk about my personal, if I don't be like that, I might be rough, I might be tough, but I have to be whom am I on the spot with responsible, because people are spending crores and crores of rupees for me. For what? They believe, they trust in me that I will bring success. So me being a success, and if I feel sorry for someone who make mistakes, then who will feel sorry for me in the coming future? So it's better for me to be who am I, no matter from my point of view, or to my artist, or to my stuntman, no matter what it is. It is, we are in a Formula One race. We are not on the street. So make sure that do not waste times on it. Concentrate. But if you talk about my personal, why should I be elegant? Why should I be? Because I'm just a human being. A human being who needs love, affections, wives, children. That's the best way of life. That's what I need.
Thank you so much, sir.
In Bahubali,
Mhm.
the one with the it goes chain
Yeah.
goes. That was designed by you and
Yes, it was designed by me. I requested the director.
yeah.
The director wants to have a big same thing with two and sword. But I said, sir, it will be like no, we should come out with something different, sir. So I said that why don't we have that and there's a button, a clutch that he turns up and like he swing the chain goes around because I need the composing because if I have only that gadar I can hit only people who are surrounded me. But if there are thousands of people and hundreds of people, and if I need to make sure that they should not come close to me, so I have to hit people who come before advance me. Before they could reach me, they should hurt. So I was the one who asked the director, requested the director that we can do this. And we composed, we made a ball, a basketball, we tie a rope, and then we put that, and I showed that generally the director won't understand because I'm not a kind of guy who can convince people. I'm a kind of guy who can work on screen. So I did that and I made a small thing. But director he's so humble because he knows what is the best. And like even Shankar sir also, I tell some sir I'm doing like this like that. He said, Peter, I don't understand what you're saying at all, but you just do it. I know there is something in you, and it's always good for me. So you just compose and you shoot, Peter. Same thing, Rajmouli sir also. He said he accept because Rajmouli sir is a captain who knows, like I'm an orange. He knows how to utilize me. He will take a juice out of me. He'll take the shell and he'll make as a medicine. He'll make as a jam. Everything he'll make use out of me fully. So he's a genius. So he accepted immediately.
It was very innovative and very extraordinary, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
So, one question about your film, current upcoming film that you are turning into a director, right?
Yeah.
So, can you give us a glimpse of the genre? And of course, I'm thinking it is an action film because you are a specialist in that. And is it like a social drama, action, or is it like mythological or general understanding of that? You don't have to reveal too much if you want to hold on to it.
Okay. Actually, about my film is nothing big. As I told you, it didn't take much time for me to do the script. It is very easily, and most of it is more realistic. And my film has no action. There is no action because I don't like action. So I don't have an action film, but my film is something as a messenger. It reminds what love is all about. It's we all knows that the mother that love their children more than the father. But I want to remind people, even father also loves children's. Father don't say it out, but he will give his life. He worked behind the scene, behind the family's back. He worked hard, and sometimes he can sacrifice himself, like how I do. True, 2 3 times. And I want to tell to the world that love is everything. So it's about the father who sacrificed his love for his daughter and his wife. And that's how the story and it's a messenger to remind people that this type of love is still there and like people just to recreate them. And that's all. And it's a very simple, straight narration story.
Excellent, sir. I really like it.
Thank you.
I
Big
think
hand
this is the
for that.
best way to conclude this session. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you
Been,
so much, sir.
really pleasure to have you here, and it is a very, very warm interaction, and so.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Sometimes I extend my answer, But as I told you in the beginning, I just speak what is there from the bottom of my heart. So
But now
this is
we
what
know that Peter the Great doesn't like stunt choreography.
that's
He
true.
wants to make
That's true.
romances, films like social
It
important
it is not that I don't want, but I have to work as a stunt for my survival. So it's a must for me to work, but in personally, not much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sir, one.
Huge round of applause for Mr. Peter Hein and Mr. G. Wilson.
Yeah.
Sir, one question, sir. Like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Tony Jaa, like they are the greatest martial artists in the history, sir.
Okay.
They came onto the screen and acted as the lead role, sir. So
Okay.
when are you acting, sir?
I'm sorry because I'm not eligible enough to be on the screen for people to admire my beauty. So I'm not that kind of a guy. If you want to be on screen, you have to be some kind of a talent. But I'm talent behind screen. So, sir,
Can I hire you for my next film?
I don't know yet, sir. I'm not a good guy for that. I'm not fit enough. But I think so. It's rather for me to have what I have, rather than to go beyond that limit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.